17 questions with Bocce. 17 questions with Bocce.
Hi, everyone. This is 17 Questions with Bocce, episode 9 with special guest C Journalist 24. Hey, CJ.
What's up?
Oh, my word. Well, I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room because we're filming this episode after the whole decision by Judge Liman that we had been waiting for forever, only to find out 10 of the 13 claims of Blake Lively out, not just based on the law, but based on the facts. And so that is exciting news. And obviously, that means the only things left are against Wayfarer, and it ends with us movie. What is it?
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
ends with
start that.
it ends with. I always say it ends with us music, but it ends with us movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
LLC.
yeah. So it's the only things left are the ones with it ends with us movie LLC and
Wayfair
Wayfarer and
and Tag.
Tag. And I think maybe the Tag one might be out if they do a little bit of something in response, because I think they have an option to do some sort of motion, another motion of something or something. I don't know. But what were your original thoughts? Like, what went through your mind? I mean, were you surprised when it came out because people were waiting for that phone
Yeah, we
call?
were actually getting ready to do the hearing episode, me and DFJ. So it was like we were scrambling because about 2 or 3 minutes right before we were gonna go on live, she's like, "Wait, Lauren is going on live. She's saying something broke. Like the order is in." And I'm like, "What do we do? Do we just scrap the episode, go on later?" Like it was like real time, game time decision. And she's like, "Let's just go on. We'll just like read whatever and let's just go on." And then Omar ended up coming onto the channel. So I was like, "Ooh, we have a lawyer. Like, let's break it all down." Um, so it was just kind of like surreal because we were like, wow, like all these claims got dismissed. Like, this is so cool. And we were just trying to figure out like what did the three remaining claims mean. And even Omar was like, "Okay, I need to look at it, like read it. I haven't even read it. I'm just like off the cuff. This is kind of like what I think." So we immediately get off and I just started consuming content. Like I know I had told you, I was like, I consumed like 13 hours straight of content. I was watching, like you and Elsie and Carol's reaction. I started crying too because I didn't realize I had so much like pent up emotion about it because it's been like a year and a half. We've been working so hard, like especially for like the super sleuths and stuff that we're building the timelines and a lot of the stuff that was used in the filings that we sleuthed it out and all that stuff. So it was like we were really invested like, a lot into it. So yeah, it was definitely emotional, and then just the excitement of trying to interpret it. Going out to seek out like what the lawyers' opinions were. Obviously the spin started right away, and I posted a little thing on my ex that was like, the Jim Carrey from Bruce Almighty where he's like typing all fast on the keyboard. I was like literal live footage of me fighting for my life against the misinformation because it started like super quick where they started to
Very
call it
quick.
a technicality. And it's
Hmm.
like when we start to call these things technicalities, it's like it's almost like demeaning the law, because then what is the law there for? If it's like, "Oh, well, it was just a technicality." No, it was the law. Like it just was legally not sound. And right before I got on here, I saw this TikTok that Elsie made, which I thought was like really cool, that she was basically calling it out like, this isn't just on a technicality. Your lawyers effed up. Like if this was the wrong jurisdiction, and even Katie Pope, another lawyer, she was like, why wouldn't they file it in New Jersey? New Jersey has a law that's just like the FIHA. It's called GLAD. She's telling us. And she's like, they could have used LAD in New Jersey, which is the correct jurisdiction and all that stuff. So yeah, I thought it was funny that Elsie she was basically saying like, you should sue your lawyers because we spent a
Oh,
year and
don't give her ideas.
I know,
You
but she's like,
would.
"You wanna know what your next scam is?" Elsie's like, "Your next scam is suing your lawyers because they dragged you along knowing that this is the law." That's what a lot of people were saying. I saw, like, a lot of citizens were saying, like, "Why was she didn't her lawyers tell her?" Like, how did they think they were gonna sneak past it? And I guess it was because she thought that, Jamie Heath saying that, he bore her into the role in California, gave her California title. But a lot of people were saying that maybe because I think it was Katie who said it too, that was saying that maybe it's because like California, Hollywood, Me Too movement, and that was their intention was to attach themselves.
47.1,
What's that?
47.1.
47.1, yeah, like the whole, victim advocacy pipeline of, because I felt like that was where she was gonna take it. It's like your career is over in Hollywood. You saw how Sony was speaking about her in text messages, and I'm like, I feel like she was gonna start doing, like, speeches and things like that. You saw it a little bit with, like, the Time 100, and I'm like, "Oh, that's where she's gonna pivot to. She's gonna go into this whole, like, public speaking about how she was
Mhm.
victimized in Hollywood." Like, that was my prediction for her,
Well,
and now it's lost because she doesn't have that. So now she's the official spokesperson. I just posted on X before I got on here that I was like, they need to pick a different spokesperson for retaliation because her and her husband don't have a very clean record when it comes to like, character assassination in a movie, with Deadpool or with Nice Pool, the Kate Middleton stuff. Like citizens today started pulling receipts. So I don't think that that PR statement that she put was very positive because people were in celebratory mode. We were going to spend our weekend celebrating, taking a rest. There's really not much else to report on. And then she dropped that and it ignited a fire. I immediately started seeing my ex feed. It used to be, my anime stuff and other stuff. It wasn't as active anymore. And after that PR statement, I mean, Umbrella Guy came back out of the woodworks, Piers Morgan, like there was so many like reporters, citizens, just all kinds of people that wanted to like talk about this. And I'm like, oh, she messed up. She really messed up.
she didn't give any she didn't give any breathing room. And I think she felt like she couldn't. But I think it would have served her better if she slept on it. But
Yeah.
do you think it was her or do you think Ryan was writing it?
I don't know. Like the emoji at the end seemed like it might have been her. And
Oh, you do?
I've been trying to decipher like, was that like a thing like to tell Taylor something? Or was that like, we're trying to figure out whether it was SEO because now if people, and I haven't tried it myself on Google, like maybe you could try it, but um, if you Google dragon text, I wonder if now it's just going to be her statement that comes out because, people are going to tell me how the statement had the dragon. And that way it takes away the SEO from like the Taylor Swift dragon text. So the dragon to me felt Blake coded, but
Oh, wow. I thought it was petty, so it felt Ryan coded to me.
to you it felt more Ryan coded.
Well, just because it felt petty. But I loved one of my folks who follow me had said sparkling through. She had said she only put one dragon because that's the only one she has left, Ryan.
Because it's only Ryan. Oh my god, that's so funny. No, and you
So,
know what? It was like kind of like I felt like, oh, okay, do you want to play? I was using the white chicks, in the movie White Chicks when he's like, "Oh, you want to talk about mamas?" I was like, "Oh, you want to play?" Baldoni has a ton of dragons all over. Like, and we do this work for free as a hobby. We got the super sleuths, who literally like right away last night I
mhm,
started them. They started digging. They're like,
mhm,
you did this. This was digital bullying. The
mhm,
unfollowing of you posted that I think today. The unfollowing of Justin Baldoni,
mhm.
that was on your live. Somebody pointed out that that was a form of like like, digital
It
bullying.
is for sure.
And it's something Taylor Swift allegedly taught her
Well, I
because they
mean,
did
we watched it with Joe, right? So,
yeah, they did the big unfollowing with Joe. Like, let's all just do it in
though
unison.
I will say though, that's less egregious to me because why would she continue to follow an ex? Um, but it's the whole friend group unfollowing the ex that maybe
I
was
don't
kind
think
of a
it's as
little
much as like everybody unfollowed, but it was like they all coordinated it at the same time kind of thing, knowing
yeah,
that
you're
people were
right.
watching.
And somebody reported on it, and people are not watching a bunch of people's, you know, somebody has to tell them that it's been done,
Yeah.
usually.
So yeah, it was I wish that we had had more time to celebrate because I mean we still can, but it's like no, it's time to get back to work. Like I even had posted in my last live, like, is this a win for Justin or are we just getting like ready to start the battle all over again? And it seemed like she wanted more smoke, so here we are. Like she's
Mhm,
ignited the fire again, and especially the super sleuths who are like obsessed with the receipts, like pulling up all the. Nobody was talking about her and Kate Middleton anymore.
mhm.
Nobody. Like, that was old news that came up in the very beginning of the case. Also, she's like, "I wanna disseminate these systems," and I'm like, "Start with your bestie Taylor and the Swifties." Like, I
Yeah.
mean, if you wanna talk about toxic digital, like, and the thing is that she's trying to dismantle systems that have been around for forever. Like, it used to be, like the whisper campaigns in politics. School bullying has been like when she's talking about the kids. I'm like, school bullying has been around since before digital bullying. Um, like you're trying to dismantle these systems that are just almost like human like behavior. I'm not saying like just let it continue unhinged or whatever, but she's acting like she's doing this big old thing, and it's like with freedom of speech comes, I mean, what are we gonna do? Pull the China stuff and do social scores? Like, you can't talk bad about somebody because your social score will get a hit or something, like some Black Mirror stuff. Like, what is her solution? You know what I mean? It feels like a lot of like posturing and pivoting into like now I want to be an advocate for this, and this is gonna be what I'm gonna like my mission.
Notice how she changed what she's advocating for.
Mhm.
Right when she was, I'm going to be the face of 47.1. I'm going to be helping women. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, now I'm going to be advocating for this or that. That's why I don't believe her. It's just too much of a whiplash. It's too soon. It doesn't. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. Um, with that said,
And it was just so long too. It was like, what you know how they put that meme where it's like TLDR, I love you, but I'm not reading all that. And Michael, like, I stay on Michael's neck and I'm like, don't come at me, Michael. But Michael Gottlieb, his was very ChatGPT coded. I'm just gonna say, like, it was very ChatGPT coded. And they love Easter egging. I think Ashley I haven't finished watching the whole episode, but she was talking about, like, the whole how they gamify stuff, like, the
I
Easter
watched
eggs
that
and
one
make
too.
people, like, try and decode things, like, the Deadpool thing, we would have never known. And that's another thing, she
Yeah.
posted to Instagram, like, "I'm so proud of you for seeing me and including about how nice men pretend to be, like,
hmm
feminists." And it's like, you were bullying him to your, like, little group or whatever. It wasn't like but it was still on a global scale.
Yeah. That's still online bullying. Just because
Yeah.
you don't, just because the rest of folks don't know the context. If Justin Baldoni, actually, Justin Baldoni probably would have noticed.
Like, I don't know, I don't think they watch those kind of movies because 'cause they're very,
Yeah.
like, they like, Wayfair Studios and stuff, they wanna make, like, uplifting movies, so I don't think they would watch that movie, but what if, like, somebody he knew or whatever, or, like, I don't know, like, his I don't know, like, kids or something, I don't know, like, if somebody watched it and then, like, knew it was him, like, I don't know, I just feel like she brought the lawsuit and we would have never known unless she brought the lawsuit, and now it's, like, all out there, so, I mean, it's still bullying.
Yeah. For sure. So let's leap into the actual like questions we typically have on 17 questions with Bocce. So the first one is, what lens or perspective do you bring to this case that shapes how you talk about it?
Well, my background is in like web sleuthing and crowdsourcing. So
Mm.
the lens that I like report through is like the gathering of information and then the storytelling. So like like telling the story of, if there's a court case or because mostly I do celebrity legal uh cases. So I'll, take the court dockets to tell the story. I'll start doing like a timeline. I'll use MSM sometimes, but basically I just gather all the information so that the citizens can like see the story for themselves. Like this is the full story, not just what MSM is reporting, but gathering it from here, just sleuthing it out all the way as much as I can, providing the dockets and all that stuff. So I guess just bringing my sleuthing skills. It's more like receipts proof timeline. That's the way I do it.
I love it. So when people tell you your content resonates, what do you think they're connecting with most?
Probably the storytelling, like, like just being like I'm a nosy person and like a lot of people are. So it's like probably just like the fact that like, oh wow, like I didn't know all this. I try to provide a lot of like education stuff too, like terms that they may not know, like how the legal system kind of works, like, oh, this is a motion, this is an answer type of thing. Like I'm not a lawyer and I always say that, but I watch other lawyers, so I'm able to like regurgitate that information, show them, where they can get like if I'm not around, this is where you would go get the court dockets and stuff. And these are the creators. Like I think they also like resonate with like the fact that it helps them find like new voices and stuff. Like, oh,
Mm.
well, I didn't know that, this creator, was around or whatever, so it helps them find new people to follow that are covering the same cases. Or like if it was a case, there's a lot of people who are doing Blake Lively right now. That's mostly like what we do. But um like I'm like, oh, this person's covering Nancy Guthrie or whatever, because I do true crime too. So people can find, you know, creators. I think they resonate with like being able to find other creators and just getting like the full story.
I will say one of the things that I really, really love about you, and I tell people is what one of the things, there's many things I love about you, but one of
No,
the
thank
things that I
you.
tell folks is she brings people together. You bring people together, CJ, and you have such an authenticity and such a desire to let other people know about other people. And
Mhm.
then you bring those people you let people know about together, whether it was like that fun game that we did with Jeopardy and celebrating, I think your was it your birthday slot
No, I
or
did
was
a
it
birthday stream before that. No, that was just like a pre before the end of the year kind of like wrap. And it was funny because I remember they were like, I didn't even know it was possible to have 10 people in StreamYard. Like this is the most people I've ever seen in a StreamYard.
yeah, and that's what I mean. You are really good about bringing people together and you just hype people up, which I think is it's just a wonderful thing about you. And it's so sincere. It comes straight from like your heart, which I really, really appreciate.
I
So
like sharing like the people that because it's kind of like when you tell your friend like, oh, you should watch this movie, or oh, you should, you don't know that they are going to go there, but like just the sharing of it like brings me joy. Like, well, I found this YouTuber or whatever, and especially when they're like niche. Like I remember when I first found you, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so niche because you were just on TikTok, remember?
yeah.
And you weren't on X, you weren't on YouTube, and so I just kept telling everybody like, no, you guys have to go get a TikTok, go check out Bocce. Like, yeah, so it's fun when I find like smaller creators who are just starting.
So the next question is what made you decide to start creating content about the Blake Lively versus Wayfair case?
It was her filing, so, or not her filing, but like the New York Times and the CRD. So I remember like being in bed just reading it, and it was one piece of the filing where it says that Justin Baldoni and was like looking in the monitors, the video monitors, and I was just like, I remember turning to my friend and I was like, wait, Justin Baldoni, like I called him the Jane the Virgin guy at the time, right? I was like, the Jane the Virgin guy had all his homies watching Ryan Reynolds' wife, because I don't call her Blake Lively, just nobody really knows who that is. So I just say Ryan Reynolds' wife. So I was like, he was him and his homies were watching Ryan Reynolds' wife on the monitors. Like he just invited all his homies over to watch her like spread eagle. Like this doesn't make no sense. Like I just kept thinking like this does not make sense because she was the bigger star. I'm like, this is like how bold of them, right? So I fell asleep and I had like still have that like nagging itch, like this doesn't make sense. And I remember being on X and Ari Jacobs, um, she's a content creator and she had posted that the New York Times had done like a hit piece on her one time. And then I was like, wait a minute, like, is this like another situation like that? So that's when I just
No.
started to go full sleuth mode. Like, but what really started it was just that one line where it just the rest of the lawsuit was like kind of horrific where I was like, oh my God, but that one just never made sense to me. So I was like, the fact that she put that into the lawsuit was what made me want to like keep digging and digging. I started making timelines on X. Like before Brian Friedman had his timeline, I had a timeline from the CRD and the New York Times complaint. I started to make one. And it's so funny, it's still up. It's got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like, how it's like, this is a story all about how I would make like little GIFs and just make threads and stuff on X. But yeah, that's what started it all. It was just that never quite fit.
Mm, that's amazing. I would
Yeah.
have never thought that that was a thing that just grabbed you to go, I'm going to like sleuth this out.
And the way that I was like, him and his homies, because I at first when I read it, I thought it was like multiple friends. Cause I think I mixed up like Steve Sarah, the part where she talks about the Steve Sarowitz and then the part about the doctor. But yeah, it was just so funny because I was like, how would they do that? Like, don't they know who they're messing with? Like, that's bold.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah, I was
true.
like, it's right. Like, they're big stars. Like, wouldn't she just walk out? Like, it never made, and still it doesn't make sense to me because if she really felt that uncomfortable, there's a point in time. It wasn't like it was like a power dynamic where especially now that we know the timeline and where it happened in the timeline. There was no power dynamic then.
No. Wait. Oh, sorry. What do you mean by that?
Like, she didn't have, like, authority over him at that time. If you look at the timeline, um, this is when she was already planting seeds about, like, he's a clown, da da da, like,
Mhm.
let's overtake him with Taylor, like, all that stuff had already happened. So you're
Mm,
telling me you can overtake him with Taylor in your penthouse, but you can't just say, "Oh, hey, I don't I'm not gonna do the scene, whatever, blah, blah, blah." Like, it doesn't make no sense
gotcha.
in the whole
Yeah.
context of it. Like, once you start seeing the whole timeline, I'm like, it definitely didn't make sense, and I still don't think that that's how it happened. I mean, maybe that's how she perceived it. It happened because think about it. This isn't a case, like most cases where people are like, "Oh, I didn't do it." Baldoni and them never said we didn't do it. They said, "This
Mm,
stuff happened, but not this way." You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, like, more so a perspective. That's what made this case so unique because normally you have, like, the complete denial.
Mhm. And the thing is, I think what harmed her is their their explanation made way more sense. And I
Yeah.
think that's the hard part. Usually when somebody comes with a counter, when somebody's being accused and they come with a counter of like some story, it's never sounds like the actual real story. But when they came out with not only their word, but like their text, their everything in real time, it was like, nah.
And when you see the video, remember when the video came out and, like, she's wearing a whole ass hospital gown? And then
Yeah.
they were like, "But no, it was showing sci-fi, and that's being nude." And I'm like, "Oh, now you're just reaching."
For real. Because in the email uh from the intimacy coordinator, it said that what Blake Lively agreed to was that it was okay to show anything except anything that would be hidden by a bikini. Well, I'm sorry, high thigh is then okay because
Yes,
high thigh you can see with a bikini. So I
and
don't know
Asshole
how
Media
they're saying that.
today Asshole Media just posted, like, a bunch of screenshots of, like, what she, like, is seen wearing in different films and stuff, and it's like, "Oh, you were worried about side thigh," and there's one where she's, like, completely you can see her whole body, side thigh, everything but the yeah. So I was like,
Yeah. Or I guess maybe they said side hip, but either way, it's
"Yeah,
the point.
the side of her hip." I'm like, "Really? Now it's the side of
Yeah.
her hip?" First, it was she was fully nude, because if you just read it without context in the very, very beginning, it was kinda horrific. You're like, "Oh my god, like, what happened to her?"
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And then she
I'm
comes
glad
out
that
with
the
her
super sleuth
PGA.
started sleuthing. What'd you
She
say?
go oh, she comes out with her PJA saying, you know, I'm the one who was in control of everything, including
Yeah,
that
and I
bird
love it
scene.
that that was in the order, remember? Like, he literally
Yeah,
quoted it in the last MSJ ruling. That was my favorite part, I think, where
yeah,
he quotes all the little pieces of her PGA.
yeah, and what did he say? Something to the effect of, like, that Blake Lively thoroughly like, not maybe thoroughly, but that Blake Lively enjoyed extensive control. Something to that effect. That cracked me up. But, yeah. Alright. The first question from one of our listeners is from Hens Homestead. Said, "What got you
Okay.
started on YouTube, and how long did it take to build where you are now?"
Hens is one of my followers, so shout out to Hens. Hey, Hens.
Hey.
Um, I started the YouTube channel because I came from X. That was like my first platform. And I started the YouTube channel initially in January for like a repository for crowdsourcing as like to keep all the videos of Blake Lively's interviews. Cause at this point was when, we started to sleuth out the timelines and all that stuff. So I started to upload any videos I could find on YouTube from It Ends With Us promos, anything with Justin giving interviews, anything with her giving interviews. I think I even did Colleen interviews up in there. And then The Shallows. I was one of the first people to clock the rhythm section Barbara Broccoli stuff when we
Mm,
found that video. But I was just like, I felt like content creators could just go there because there was so many videos to go through. Like, I'm not gonna be able to go through that many videos. So I was like, maybe we can crowdsource it. So that's how the YouTube channel kind of started. And then, I started getting featured on other channels,
mm,
like Popcorn Planet, and then, Colonel Kurtz was one of the big reasons why I started creating content because she's the one who taught me, like, oh, you just can download StreamYard and this is how you do thumbnails and all that stuff. So I started doing that in May of last year. So it'll be 1 year in May. It'll be my 1 year anniversary. Um,
Woo-hoo!
and it took me 3 months. Wait, May, June, July, August. Yeah, about 3 months because I got monetized the day that I got there to the Perez hearing.
Oh,
When I went to
nice.
Vegas to cover the Perez hearing, I got monetized that day. So that was kind of a cool little
Exciting.
milestone.
Very cool. Um, so Kenny Vixen CC, who's one of my bocce buddies, said, "How did you get started in true crime and case analysis?"
Well, true crime, I've always watched, like, even when I was a kid, like, we watched Unsolved Mysteries at home, Americans Most Wanted. I know, it was like, as a family, this is what we're watching, Law and Order. So I was always interested in true crime, just even, like, growing up. But I started doing case analysis in, like, a forum called Web Sleuths. I don't know if you've ever heard of that forum. It's
Mm.
kinda like Reddit, but
Uh,
it's for, like, missing people in true
oh.
crime. And so it's like a crowdsourcing place where people can go and sleuth out cases. So if someone goes missing or someone's the victim of a crime and we're trying to find a suspect, we go in there and it's like very monitored. Like you can't do like no speculation, you can't use any names. It's really professional. And so I started doing that. Sherry Papini was my first case that I started
Mm.
on Web Sleuths over there. And then eventually I moved to like Facebook groups and I started doing like actual real work with like families of missing people, like helping them fundraise and
Mm.
helping them put out uh, creating the flyers that they would then put out, helping them start Facebook groups, doing like social media, like the hashtags, showing them how to do all that. Um, so I started doing like serious work, which was kind of heavy because then, you're feeling like all the pain from the families and all of
Mhm.
that stuff. So it was
Yeah.
pretty heavy. And right before this came out, I was actually sleuthing the Hannah, I forget how to say her last name, Kibayashi, the woman that was missing out of Hawaii.
Mm.
And she ended up not being missing. She just like left or whatever. That was like a whole story. They ended up finding her. And they found her, I think it was like December 14th or something. And then the lawsuit dropped a couple days before Christmas. So I was already kind of like looking to transition out of like true crime sleuthing. And then so Blake Lively just fell into my lap. So I just transitioned from true crime sleuthing to celebrity legal sleuthing. And I still do like, dabble on true crime. Me and DFJ, shout out to DOJ, my true crime partner. But I'm not like as like with Nancy Guthrie, I try to go like my missing persons route. Like, I this is my time. Like I know how to do this. And it was just too much. Like I spent
Mm.
maybe 4 or 5 days trying to sleuth it out, like Google Maps, locations, because that's what we would do. We would pull up Google Maps, what are points of interest, like all kinds of stuff. It was a lot, like, I'm gonna let the detectives just take it. I was
Yeah.
like, in a year and a half of covering, Lively versus Baldoni, I didn't get as tired. And remember, we were up late and losing
Mhm.
sleep. But in those 3 days with Nancy, like, I took a whole social media detox because of the Nancy case. It wore me out.
Mm.
It
Yeah,
took
I
me, like,
didn't
2 months.
yeah, I went on vacation during that time, but I heard bits and pieces, and it is so sad that they still don't know the answer.
Yeah,
That's
I
tough
don't
on a
think
family.
that there's, like, hope of finding her. I mean, there could be because, I mean, you just never know, but it just so much time and, like, from my experience of missing people, so much time has passed by. It's
Mm.
been, I think, 60 days or something.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I don't think that anything's gonna come out of that. I mean, I'm hoping that they at least figure out, like, what happened to her and stuff, but, I think me and DFJ are gonna try and cover, some of the newer aspects that just came out, which, a lot of reporters are going back to Tucson, so some people think, like, maybe something's about to pop off.
Mm.
Um But yeah, we're gonna try and, do an episode on her. I can't sleuth it out. I'm like, the detectives can sleuth it out. It's heavy. It's heavy, heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Plus,
Um,
Blake's back in the picture. I'm like, we gotta stay on Blake's neck.
unfortunately, I was ready to be like, "Y'all, you can settle now." And then she pulled that stunt, and I was like, "You know what? Go all the way. Do not settle."
Yeah, she
Um,
ignited the fire. Like, I was like, Baldoni's Baha'i and everything, and, like, he never wanted to go, like, super hard on her. That's why I don't believe the retaliation because we have evidence in text messages where, You know, there's one where Jamie Heath says, you know, just like we have our people that sing for us, she has people who sing for her, like, just let it go, you know, type of thing. And to me, that doesn't sound like someone who wants to go after her.
Mhm.
There's a
Mhm.
ton of receipts of him being like, I don't want to be too hard on her, da da da. So the retaliation to me doesn't make sense with the receipts that we have now, unless she comes up with some new one where Baldoni's saying, like, you know, let's tear her apart or whatever. Even the
Mhm.
message where he says, I don't feel as, like, protected. Remember that message?
Mhm.
The way they spun it, if you read it in the full context, the whole thread, he was just basically saying, like, "I don't know how this works, so I don't
Mhm.
know if this is gonna protect me enough or not." He was trying to educate himself.
Mhm. Yeah, and even when he brought up the Haley Bieber thing, I'm like, "But she was a bully." I'm not talking about Haley Bieber, I'm talking about Blake
Yeah.
Lively. Um, so I was like, "I understand."
And none of
But
the stuff that he did after, to me, like, matters because she was doing it before anything happened with Taylor Swift when they were at the penthouse for the rooftop scene. She was calling him a clown and stuff before anything happened to her, before he did anything to her.
yeah.
So, it does, you know, like, anything that happened afterwards to me is like, I don't care because you were the one, it started here. Like, that's my new timeline I'm working on. It's like, it started here when you called him a clown.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Okay, Carol Snyder said, "How did you get into doing a live series focused on pop culture?"
Okay, so I'm like an anime fan. So I don't
Yes.
know if there's any anime fans out there, but there's a show called Ace Attorney. And they always have like this little speech bubble, like objection, like whenever like they're trying to rebuttal like a witness or whatever. So that was kind of like what I wanted to do. And it was mostly like Colonel. She was the one who taught me how to, like, if I didn't know like about StreamYard or any of that stuff, I would have never known. But that's how like the whole branding started. Um, was just that idea that I wanted to do like legal stuff. Cause once I discovered Court Listener, I discovered Court Listener like really, really in the very, very early days of it, like maybe like a week after the lawsuit hit. And once I discovered that and I saw that I could get access to other celebrities' dockets, because you know, before all you can see is just like whatever MSM is
Mm,
reporting, right?
yeah.
And it's not, I guess, as fun for, like, super sleuths, but when you can, like, actually go read the dockets, go through the exhibits, it becomes more of, like, and I hate using the word fun because it's, like, entertainment, but we'd lie to ourselves if we didn't say that it was, like, there's some aspect of entertainment to it, you know? Um, but yeah, once I discovered that I could have access to dockets and I was like and the Diddy case was, going.
Mm.
And they had a website called the Diddy Docket where it had all the paperwork, all the I remember I told Carol, I was like, "Have you seen the Diddy Docket? You should, uh, you know, take some stuff." I was like, "Dude, they have the depositions, everything." And that's when she had added the depositions to the site and stuff. But yeah, I started it when, the Diddy trial was going on. That was one of my first episodes was, a courtroom art in the Diddy trial. Like, I went through all the, drawings of, like, "What do you think
Mm.
about this? What do you think this depicts? Why do you think his children were white?" So it kinda started, like, with, like, courtroom fashion I kinda wanted to do. Courtroom fashion
Oh, Blake would love that.
and then, like, art because I love art and stuff. But then, I just ended up doing the live show because it just started with, like, little videos, and this series is called Objection, and then I realized how hard it was for me, versus, like, doing live content. Because whenever I had to, like, speak, I would be like, "Oh, let me try again. Oh, let me redo it," and it would take me forever just to do one episode, and now I could just talk, like, more casually, but I realized that on the lives, I would just be myself and just do it and get it over with, so I was like, "I think I'm just gonna do live series."
Nice. So Out of Ideas asks, "How has covering this case impacted your life? And what made it worth dedicating so much time to?"
They had good questions. Your
Don't
people
they?
had
I
good
love their
questions.
questions.
Um, well, sleep is for one. It definitely impacted my sleep. And we were talking about that earlier too, like just how much in the very early days and then yeah, that was when there was so much sleuthing to do. As the case grew, there was less and less sleuthing, but in the very early days it definitely impacted my sleep. But I think one of the most positive things that came out was just like the community. I made so many
Mm.
friends, some that I got like really close to, like my mods, DFJ and
Mhm.
Laura. Um, and so I developed like really strong friendships and um, there was also, like, a lot of self-growth for me because I'd never experienced storytelling, like, on that high of a level where,
Mm.
it's like my followers' stories, the content creator stories, the celebrity stories, and it's like I'm in this big giant storytelling machine, and so at the same time that I'm absorbing all these stories, I'm reflecting on myself of, like, I know, Blake Lively just put in her statement like, "Oh, calling it celebrity drama prevents people from being put in my shoes." I'm like, "No, I put myself in celebrity drama shoes all day, just not in your shoes because we wouldn't act like that." On TikTok, they have a sound where it's like, it's Beyoncé singing, and it's like kinda like a trend where you're like, put yourself in someone's shoes. And the whole trend is to put like, "But I would never," "I would never do
Mm.
this." And I was like, "But I would never," turn on the person that is making the film and take over. I made like a whole little list of what she did. It's like, it's almost inhumane behavior. Like I haven't been able to relate to how she feels. This last time when she lost, there was a tiny little bit of like, wow, like she's probably experiencing this loss or whatever. It's like the first time that I was like, maybe I'm not gonna like go hard. Like she lost, she lost. Like why even go hard and like celebrate it or like, you know, put it in deeper, like where it's like, oh look, you lost. Like I think I'm okay on her. But now with the statement, I'm like, no, she's doubling down. Like she just does too much. So she's just not relatable. But yeah, I've learned a ton through all this, like, a lot of education too. I've learned PR. I've learned, indigenous culture through, like, the Wayfair website. I've learned, like, all the legal stuff, like, LawTube is just insane. Um, the film production, I didn't know stuff. The scriptwriter, I think you had one on 17 Points, didn't you?
Oh, I haven't had you know what? I should have Alicia. I wonder if Alicia would
Oh, I
be
thought
open
you
to
had
it.
Alicia.
I haven't had Alicia. That's a good
Who
point.
was it that I watched then? Wasn't it something that
Ellsridge.
she Huh?
Ellsridge had her on one of her
Oh, it was
episodes.
Ellsworth. Okay.
Yeah, mhm.
I'm confusing it. But yeah, so I've learned about like the script, like what it takes, how there's like different script versions and all this stuff. It's like so I think it's just made me like more wise and educated.
Yeah. I hear you. I mean, there's so many layers to this case. So, definitely. So many so many things to learn from this case. I think our eyes are wide open now in regards to
Mhm.
stuff.
And you
So
especially, you would do the mass media or the what is it? Like the MSM articles where you would match the timeline to what was happening in the articles. And remember when you clocked Benjamin Van Hughes? I was just saying that on my channel. Like she clocked and he hasn't written since.
hasn't. He
Mm-mm.
hasn't.
Yeah,
Was
so that
that
was another
I'm
thing
like
I learned. I know. I think it might have been you. I think it might have
I
been
mean,
you.
I'm like, they're not watching my stuff, but how did he just stop around the time I brought up the fact that he writes everything?
So I never realized that once you planted that seed, I went into sleuth mode and I was like, oh my God, because it's also Dominic, what's his name?
Yes, also him.
Memory?
Also
Yeah.
him.
And so I
Also
started to
him.
notice those patterns. So I'm like, without this case, like I wouldn't like know patterns like that.
Yep. Yeah. Uh, yeah. We're pattern recognition people.
Yeah, pattern recognition people. Hyperfixating.
For sure. So at MKULAF asks, what are you learning from this case that carries over into others?
Mostly the legal stuff, I would say. Like, um, now where I get into cases where I'm like, oh, I already know what that means because, this was I already know what the elements of retaliation is because one of the cases that we've been following is Kim K versus Ray J.
Hmm.
And like there's contract claims there too. So like a lot of the stuff that I learned from the contract stuff with Blake, like whether, if something is signed or not signed, like all that stuff, it carries over into different cases.
What is that case? What's
Kim K versus Ray J, she's suing him for defamation because he said on like a live stream that uh something about like, oh, the FBI is gonna get her on Rico or something like that. Like he casually said that. And then he gave an interview to TMZ. He was on about the Diddy case. And he
mm,
was like, oh, if you want to talk about Rico, Kim K and blah, blah, blah. And I remember that I reported on it and so did Perez Hilton. I didn't get a cease and desist, probably because I'm a smaller channel. But we were just like literally reporting what he said. We weren't saying it was fact. We're just like, oh my God, Ray J said this. And Perez Hilton got a cease and desist letter, and then shortly after, she filed a lawsuit against him. And then he
Dang.
filed a counterclaim saying that they had done the whole like sex tape or whatever, her and her mom, and that it was all like, orchestrated by them. So that's what he's alleging. So he's alleging that it was orchestrated by them and that there was an NDA that he was given $6 million for. Yes. You need to
He
like now.
started spilling all the tea. He started spilling all the tea.
I'm like, yeah, so he signed an NDA for $6 million, and that they broke it because they talked about it on the Hulu show and acted like he was like blackmailing them with the tape. And he's like, I was never hanging that tape over them. Like there was not an extra tape I had or whatever. So I haven't yet gotten his full, because I think it's like 68 pages. So I get funded through like, my followers and stuff to buy documents and stuff, but I usually try and find it for free if I can. But yeah, his is an 80-page counterclaim or whatever. And then he just filed an anti-slap against her. See, I wouldn't know what anti-slap is unless I follow like all these cases. But basically trying to dismiss it on the fact that he has freedom of speech is what he's trying to say.
I'm color me intrigued now on this.
Bro, like, yes. The only thing is that like I'm covering it Team Kim K because I'm like, I don't want her to come after me. And Ray J's a mess anyways. So I'm just like, if I'm gonna cover it, I'm gonna go Kim K. Only because, it's Kim K. She's a billionaire.
This is very interesting. So at SGAXS says, can you briefly revisit the Ari Emanuel podcast and highlight the key audio? I don't know if we can actually do that because I don't know if I can add.
Well, I could just talk about it and what the audio said.
Okay.
So the Ari Emanuel stuff was a collab I did with Colonel Kurtz. And I don't know if you remember, if it's, people who don't know the case about Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel is, he was part of WME, and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were, under WME. So he had given a live podcast. It was, there was people there for a podcast called Freakonomics. And at that podcast, he had basically said, I'm ride or die for Blake Lively. And like,
And Ryan Reynolds.
pretty much, and I'm just paraphrasing. So allegedly, you don't have a little bar like I do on my show, like allegedly. So I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but he was basically saying, he calls him like baloney or whatever, like messes up his name purposely and is like, like F that dude. And this is not exactly what he said. He didn't use the F word, but basically the gist is like, forget that dude. I'm ride or die for Blake, and that dude got fired. And in so many words, basically like almost insinuating that, he was fired because he's so ride or die for Blake and Ryan. And now that we see the emails, we know that that is probably more true than not, allegedly. But so he films this podcast and somebody actually writes an article about it. That's what he said. But then when the podcast is supposed to premiere, because, podcasts are like filmed before, when the podcast is supposed to premiere, they said that this once in a lifetime thing happened that somebody just forgot to hit record. So they don't have the podcast. It's gone. Something happened. It was a glitch. So we're like, okay. And I'm sitting there on my couch with my friend and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, the Freakonomics podcast is saying that it's lost because it's in headlines. And my friend's like, didn't you say that it was a live podcast or whatever? Like, why don't you just reach out to like, the people who were there? So yeah, we ended up getting that call, and I didn't have a platform at the time. So Colonel was nice enough to take the smoke because I'm like, I want to go up against Ari. Nobody trying to go up against Ari. So she was kind enough to take the smoke and feature it on her channel. So if any of your followers want to hear the audio, if you go over to Colonel Kurtz's channel, she has the video of the audio there. So you could just hear what he says. So yeah, that was like, it was the first time that I'd ever like reached out for like quote comment or whatever. That was like
who do you
successful.
reach out for?
To the people who were there. Like I sleuthed it. I went on to Twitter or X, I guess. I went on to X. I went on to TikTok and I just searched the venue to see if anybody had been there. Like, how some people sometimes like post videos
You
of
are
when
a
they go
sleuth.
places. Nope, I'm a super sleuth. I've been doing it for like over 10 years. Yeah. I'm a super sleuth. But yeah, so I just started looking on X if anybody had posted that they'd been there, on TikTok, and then just reaching out to people. And yeah, one person who wanted to remain anonymous had the recording.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
They're also trying to protect. So that's actually a very cool story. I never knew. I never knew
Mhm.
that was the background on that. So the next question is from Just Khaleesi. Um, did you enjoy being on the boots for the Perez trial? So I mean, I guess being at the
Boots
trial,
on the ground?
boots on the ground.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was surreal. I watched the OJ. I remember like as a kid watching the OJ Simpson trial, and there was like reporters outside the courthouse and stuff. And I always was like, it was like kind of like a childhood dream of like, I want to be a reporter. Like I've always just been interested in like reporting and stuff. And of course, I'd watched Perez Hilton. I didn't watch his YouTube stuff that much, but I watched him like on like TV and stuff like that. And then I was like old school. I still followed his blog. So before I did all of this YouTube stuff, now I watch his YouTube channel, his TikToks. But I was super old school. I still woke up in the mornings and like checking like headlines. I would go to perezhilton.com and check the headlines on celebrity. So yeah, it was a dream. I got to meet Perez Hilton. I got to meet Ari Jacobs, who was the person who red pilled me into Blake Lively. She was there. One of my good friends from BTS Las Vegas. He was my camera guy. He had all the equipment. Like I look legit as heck. I don't know if you've seen the
Oh,
recording, but I had a whole ass mic, like a reporter mic. It was legit, like a legit camera. So we had like B footage, which I never did anything with because maybe I'll like edit it out and do like a compilation. Um, but yeah, we have B-roll footage of it. It was a lot of fun afterwards. Well, the first time it was 2 hearings. So the first time he lost, so that wasn't as fun because that was
mm.
really heavy energy and um, but then the second time he won, and so we all went out for drinks. Popcorn Planet had his camera guy there. So it was me, him, and Nico, my friend from BTS Vegas. And then when we got there, it was the first time that I had met any followers. Like, I was just
Mm.
like a channel or whatever. And there was people there that actually went. There was a girl that actually flew out there because they were inspired by the first hearing that I went to.
Mm.
And I had told them like, "Oh, I just flew out here on a whim." I literally just did it on a whim. I saw
Mm.
Perez Hilton post a video like, what, like, just saying like, "Oh, we need to get out there more and like put ourselves out there." And I was like, "Dude, I'm just getting a ticket. I'm just gonna go." And yeah, it was really fun. That when we went to the little it was a restaurant called Petite Boheme, and
Mm.
there was like lawyers there, like all kinds of like really smart people. So we had like First Amendment conversations and all kinds of stuff. It was really fun. And they have like this like little chain link fence at that restaurant where you could buy like little locks to like, leave your mark there. So if anyone's in Vegas and go to Petite Boheme, you'll see a little log that says CJ and Perez, Justice for Justin. And then the other one just says Justice for Justin. I forget what I put on the back, but there's one for Justin, and then there was one that I did together with Perez.
Nice. That's fun. The next question is from Fern Ronay. If a settlement happens, what do you think it would look like to satisfy both sides?
Okay, so first of all, settlement will never happen. Because they could have stopped it after the rooftop scene takeover when they got what they wanted, but they wanted more. They're always gonna want more. They're always gonna want more. So I don't like really like imagine what it would look like, but there was a point where I did imagine it, where I was like, what if it was just like, although our perceptions, because that's what it is, it's like a difference in perception, right? It's like, although our perception of what happened and it ends with us set is different for the sake of our families, because like the big impact, both their families are getting impact. So I was like, for the sake of our families, and because I've read so many press statements, I'm like, we've decided not to take it to trial. And, we're going to work with like, no more. And we're going to work with, and now that she's doing the retaliation, I'm like, she should add like, and we're going to work on online bullying. But at this time, like, everybody kind of like no more bullying each other. But then I'm like, that's like not even ever possible. Like, it just isn't. Like, she's not human like that, where she would like, it's not possible.
It's
But
not
if
gonna.
it was, that's what I would write. That's what I would write. So any
It's so
ideas?
funny that you start off with that sentence because that's the sentence they started with when they objected to the 17-point side agreement. Was
Wait,
that
who? The one
the
that
way
Ryan Reynolds wrote?
Wayfair, Sony, and production when they said, although we disagree, we have
Oh,
differing
no, I know
perspectives.
that email.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, he did say that. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"We're gonna go ahead and sign it, but we disagree."
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So
But
at
I was
first
like,
when you
if it
started
was
with that,
short, it has to be really short. It has to be like just 2 sentences.
because it's private, right? Nobody ever knows what the settlement actually, have. So the statement would just be why they're moving on, but probably settlement would include an NDA or
Yeah, that's what happened in the FK Twigs and Shia LaBeouf case that we're also covering. The original statement when she settled, Brian Friedman was her client. That was her lawyer, and it was literally 2 sentences. It was like, "We just want to move on with this is our statement. We just want to move on with our lives, and we wish each other the best." It was literally just super short. But now they're going back to court because he's saying that like she spoke about it. It's like the whole Amber Heard thing, when she wrote
Mm,
something about it.
mm,
And I was just like, dang, these people are just like, I don't understand it. You're like a big superstar. Like, why would you want to bring a whole other lawsuit? Like,
and
it's really crazy why you want to get back into litigation when you've already settled and gotten money. And it's like, she's saying the point is not money, but then I'm like, well, why then? Like,
wait, so who's suing who?
FK Twigs is suing Shia LaBeouf, basically saying that he's trying to silence her by not, and it is a little much because apparently we'll never get to see the NDA because it's said in the lawsuit that it's going to be just for the judge to look at because the provisions are so. But Matthew Rosengart, Brittany's old lawyer, is her lawyer, and he puts in there like that. Apparently, it said something about how she can't even donate to charities, and I was like, that's a bit much. Like she can't
Mm,
donate to like domestic violence charities or anything like that. And I'm like,
mm,
well, yeah, that's a little bit too much to put. But she signed the NDA and got the money. That's the part that I don't understand. And now they're
mm,
trying to say that there's like a loophole in California law where if it has to do with SA, you're not allowed to put any like restrictions on like them talking or whatever. But I'm like, didn't her lawyers like, I mean, I don't like, I love Be Free. So I'm not going to like say it was Be Free, but even Sean Hawley, Shia LaBeouf's lawyer, like, didn't any of the lawyers realize that before the NDA was signed? That there's this law that prevents it? Like now we're
mm,
back in court?
hmm.
So yeah,
Interesting.
super juicy. I'm getting you more cases that you can
I
cover
am
'cause
I know
I
because I was like,
feel
what else can I talk about? And you're like,
color me
well, let me
peaked.
give you a few things. Um,
You should come on my show now next, and we could yap on those cases.
yeah, I mean, you educate me. The next question is from Sparkling Through. What guest connected to the JB case would you want on your show?
Justin. Is there any other answer? No. If because it could only be one
Mhm.
person. It could only be one. Because I'm like, I could also just say Wayfair, because technically that's one entity. But I literally stan like the Steve Sarowitz, Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni friendship. I even made like
Mm.
edits on TikTok. But yeah, I just love their stories. All 3 of them have like great stories. They're very open. That's why when Ryan and Blake talk about Justin and say like, "Oh, he doesn't hold accountability," like his whole career, he's been holding himself accountable almost to the point where it's like too much. Like he overshares so much about his life to hold himself accountable to the public. But it helps others. You know what I mean? Um, and just like his book and all that stuff. But Jamie Heath too, like with his marriage and stuff, like mistakes that he made that he learned his prior marriage. Um, like I've learned so much from them. I've sleuthed all 3 of them from like their childhood stories all the way out. Any information that's online about those 3, I've sleuthed it out, and it's all just like real wholesome. Steve Sarowitz and his wife and all the philanthropy that they've done, even like the one that's not like public or whatever, that's only the super sleuths can find. Um, yeah, so those I would say Wayfair. I also like Be Free, Brian Friedman, and just like his trajectory of how he came up like into, being this litigation lawyer and the way he put his name and his firm on the line for Justin. Like I've never seen anything like it from a lawyer. Like he went hard to the point where they were trying to sanction him. Like he didn't care. He was like, I'm gonna be there for Justin no matter what. And he also acknowledged the super sleuth. So like when he had given that TMZ interview where he was like, God is like working here because there's these people who are just like doing this, like pretty much like Dave Neal said, it was like free paralegal work. He's like, it's a needle in a haystack and you only have a couple people. But when you put it out there and all these web sleuths start working on it, it becomes so much easier. And the fact that he like acknowledged us and stuff. So I don't know. I guess I couldn't pick. It'd be one of those 4, but definitely if I had to like just like one person, it would probably be just Justin himself because his story is just, it's super cool.
All right. Yeah, I hope someday to meet Justin Baldoni. That would be amazing.
Is that who you would like if you had to pick one for 17 questions with Bocce, would it be Justin?
It would be Justin. I would
Hmm.
love to hear from Justin.
What
Um,
would be like the question that you would most want to ask him or like no?
oh gosh, I haven't thought that far ahead.
You haven't done like, I would ask him more about, like, Wayfair Studios and, like, that whole thing because I heard that at Wayfair theaters, there's, like, a whole hologram that explains, like, the way like, I really wanna go to Chicago to go see that, like, that's gonna be, like, one of my bucket list things 'cause I heard there's, like, a whole little hologram thing that explains their story of how they wanna start to uplift people through storytelling, like, in film, and because I'm a, like, film nut, like, I love, love, love movies, I would probably like, yeah, sure, we could talk about the Blake case or whatever, but I would, and him overcoming all that, but I would, love to talk to him about, like, Wayfair and their whole, like, mission, in movie making. That would be cool.
Yeah, my word, I don't know what I would ask. Maybe something about how something about maybe the friendships that he has with the group, the men that like really propped him up during this whole fiasco. Because it's very rare to have such a large group of men that
Mhm.
actually are there for each other and are open to each other's vulnerabilities and being willing to have those discussions. And so it's like, how do you build a community like that? Um, and how do you nurture communities like that? Something like that, I think maybe is something I would pursue to ask. But I don't know if that would be a first question, but that would be definitely a
One of the
question.
questions, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well,
So
maybe
the
we'll get
next
lucky. I'm like, "Baldoni, if you're watching, I want 17 points."
so the next question is from Ange O'Clock that says, are you going to do more movie reviews or recommendation videos?
Yeah, that's something that I definitely wanna do. Like I said, I love, love, love film. I love talking about movies. I don't necessarily like the review as much as I like the layers and explaining like how I see it. There's a ton of times like I remember watching Sinners and my friends were just like, "Oh, it's just a vampire horror movie." And I'm like, "You don't understand. It's talking about religion and it's talking about all these other like little layers." And I dig like super deep into it. I kind of like web sleuth movies too. Or sleuthed out movies. But one of the ones I wanna do and I know you're a football fan, right? You love football
Yes.
as much as I love football. That's one thing that we have in common that I love. We did an episode, remember? Our Super
Yeah.
Bowl episode? It's the movie Him,
Mm.
and it's about football, and after I watched it, I was like, "If you love football, don't watch Him." No.
Oh, oh.
Because after I've watched it, it's basically like a horror movie with, like, layers of, like, what the football industry is, and it's not saying, like, this is Bible, this is what happened. Obviously, it's, like, satirical or whatever, satirical. Um, but it makes you think about the culture. And for a
Mm.
while, I was like, I don't think I want to watch football no more. Like, I was like, I felt like it took me a couple days to like digest it. But then I realized that there's so many positive aspects about football and like the fandom and the hard work. Like I remember when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, I started to get more active and stuff. Like I was like, oh, this
Mhm.
is what they do. They wake up at 5 a.m. Like it made me closer to my faith too, where I was like, "Oh my god, they have like, services and all this stuff." Like the players themselves inspired me and stuff. So I was like, "Ah, I could go back to watching football." But yeah, I want to deep dive on him and then I want to deep dive on the Scream movies, which might be too late because they already, Scream 8 already passed, but they have a lot of layers on like whether are criminals inspired by film, like the first one and
Mm.
I think it's the second one that has that. But as it progresses, it's like, part 6, I think it was like, does social media create killers too? So it starts to like change with the times as we get like through the years. So that's a good series that I might want to do. I missed the Oscars. Like me and Nerd, I think it's Nerd Report. We were gonna do an Oscar episode, but that was when I took that digital detox. I went on
Mm.
vacation at the same time as you because I like watching you. So I was like, I'm gonna go do my detox, whatever. I deleted all my apps and everything off my phone. I was like, when Bocce's gone, so that way I don't miss anything. And then I didn't realize you were still posting, so I had to like binge it all when I came back. Did you have fun on your vacation?
I did have
What
a
you
lot of
thinking about
family.
the case?
Um, I mean, thankfully, I could tell that nothing was happening. It's
Mhm.
like they waited for me.
We
But I
both kinda
will.
came back at the same time, huh?
That's true, that's true. But I was just gonna say, it's amazing because reading all the questions that I'm reading right now from folks, it shows how diverse like your reach is. Like there's so many avenues that you've touched that
Mhm.
people are asking about different parts of like what you do on social media, which is kind of really amazing
Oh, thank
when
you.
you think
Yeah,
about it.
I did the movie review. I've only done, well, I did it slightly with Brian Koberger, when I covered him, but, because Scream was actually inspired by a real life college crime.
Oh,
So I kinda dabbled in that, but, for my birthday, it was just like a fun stream, like, not celebrity legal drama, whatever, and I recommended, like, the music I listened to and the, movies that I liked and stuff like that, so I think that's where that comment came from, was like, "Are you gonna do more, like, reviews and, um, recommendations?"
yeah. Well, it sounded cool what you were thinking about doing with Scream and all, all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's like that's one of the things that I, like, kinda wanna get into, but it's like there's so many celebrity legal dramas, like, I guess when that dries up and it's also the algorithm, it's like I'd have to start a whole new channel, which is definitely possible, because the algorithm doesn't, like, put out the videos unless like, I'm in the celebrity legal algorithm.
Yeah, I hear that. I think about that all the time with how much is viewership gonna drop for me once I switch stuff around because I do not have the capacity to do another channel. This is it. This is
Yeah,
it.
and it's already monetized too, but I think eventually, like, as you go and put out more of, like, a different type of content, then you can, like, change it up. But your stuff does well because even, like, your posts, like, of just, like, your food posts or whatever, like, I see the community, you're really that's the one thing that I'm like, "Wow, that's super cool." I've started to use my posts ever since I saw
Hooray!
yeah, when I came back from my break and I saw, like, how you just casually post, I'm like, "Dang, she uses it like X." Like, she's just casually posting food, casually posting all this, so I've been trying to post more in my community posts, just reminding people about, like, when the show starts or just, reposting other creators, kinda like treating it kinda like X.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you inspired me to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing that. The next question is from the Wrathful Proser. What are your long-term goals for the channel?
Oh, that was a good one. Um, I don't really have, like, any long-term goals because I don't, like, really foresee, like, maybe content creating, like, as a profession or, like, la you know, going, like, I'm just kinda playing it by ear and whatever happens, happens. Like, I honestly didn't think that, like, people were gonna watch when I first started it, you know? Um Even though I already had people coming over from X and stuff, but I didn't really put, like, too much emphasis on it, so I don't, like, think about long term, but, like, this year I want to one of the things that I said on, one of my live streams was I wanna challenge myself to do, like, short form video content, like, editing. I don't know if you ever seen where they're, like, talking about a story, and then it's, like, you see the edit, like, they'll bring in, like, images or videos,
Mhm.
and then you continue to talk, so it's, like, a more edited, kinda, like, short and I love editing, that's one of my other passions. I do it over on TikTok, I do, like, fan edits or, like, ship edits. I wanted to do one of, not Dawson, Pacey and what's her name with that new movie?
Joey?
And Joey yeah, Pacey and
Yeah.
Joey, because that's another thing that me and
Yeah.
Bocce have in common is we're both, like, Dawson's Creek,
Love it.
fanatics. And they're doing that new movie where they're gonna reunite,
Yes. Yes,
so
it's
maybe it could
supposed
be
to
a
be a
dual
trilogy if all things work well.
Oh, is
If
it
the
gonna be a
first movie
trilogy?
does well, it's gonna they'll do the next movie, but it's supposed to be a trilogy.
Dang, you heard it here first, that's, like, inside info, I didn't know that.
I think Joshua Jackson has said it in interviews because he says
Oh, wow.
hopefully it will be, at the first movie is supposed to be them falling in love, but hopefully
And
that
those
will
2
set.
act so well together, like, I
Are they
love,
in?
love, love them.
No, just
When
kidding.
you had brought up Dawson's Creek, I did a complete rewatch after, like, I had found you and I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen it in forever," and I did a complete rewatch, and then I remember when I would pull up, like, legal stuff, like YouTube videos on my live shows, you know how it always shows, like, the videos that you've, like, watched before or whatever, and it was just, like, Dawson's Creek, all this, like, stuff with fake stuff. Um, but yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I kinda wanna do this year is just work on videos, and then maybe even do the movie stuff since it seems like people are wondering when I'll do something like that.
yeah, very cool. So the next one is from Laura, really, Laura Trainer dash
Oh, that's my
00.
mod.
who's a
That's
bocce
what I want.
buddy. Um, she asked, "What would surprise people about your favorite way to spend downtime?"
Um, Probably I read scripture for fun because the way that
Oh.
I stay on Blake Lively's neck, people are like, "What?" Like, "Really, you?" But the same way that I, like, sleuth, like, films and sleuth, true crime and celebrity stuff, I also, like, sleuth out the Bible. I'm like like, I love words, so I
Mm,
like to sleuth out, like, the meaning of the word and, like, how it could be, interpreted. Me and Colonel, we're actually gonna do an episode on words in this case, in, Blake
mm,
Lively versus Justin Baldoni, because words play a lot into this case, like, in the court paperwork, the lawyers are battling it out, it's like spells, and even in this statement, so that's why I'm like, I should reach out to Colonel, she's been on a little hiatus too, but I'm like, I should reach out to her because when she calls it digital violence, I'm like, "Ooh, word, violence," like,
mhm,
automatically you're
mhm,
thinking like, "Oh my gosh," like, because it went from smear campaign where it's like, "Oh, it's just a smear. You're getting
mhm,
smeared." And now it's
mhm,
digital violence, like, it's like,
mhm,
I picture, like, swords. I visually, like,
mhm.
picture words sometimes too, so I'm like, um, yeah, so I think people will be surprised. They're like, "What?" I nerd out too. I be, like, taking notes and all
Highlight,
kinds of stuff. Huh?
highlight, and side notes.
Yeah, I'd be nerding out on it too.
Love it. The next question is DFJ. Are you planning to go boots on the ground again for case coverage like you did for Perez?
I don't know because as much fun as I had and everything, the fact that the case was in like a city that I've already like had friends in and I'd been in, also played into like the fact that I went there because, I had a place to stay and like it was super easy, I had a camera guy and all that stuff. So I don't know that I would just like up and go. And that was more like divinely inspired. Like I just saw him like feeling down and stuff. And I'm like, he needs support, and shout
Mm,
out to Perez who just had surgery and stuff and is going through some hard times here. But yeah, that was kinda like God led a little bit. So I don't know necessarily that I would go cover other cases because it is a lot. It's hard on, like, energetically for like, all the sadness that I was absorbing, like, I went home and cried that first hearing. I was like, it's
mm,
one thing when you experience it online, but even, like, when Meryl at the second one where she lost, Meryl Gavrensky,
mm,
I do put myself in her shoes, by the way, Blake. I'm like, I do put myself and I felt bad for her when she was walking out of the court, she was all, like, slumped down and, like, the judge had, like, reprimanded her, like, like, interrupted her, and, like, you could tell that she was, like, trying and, like, she just, like, was losing, but I felt so bad, and it was, like, energetically, I felt like, "Dang," and then there's a lot of waiting, you don't see that from, like, you know, the reporters like, Lauren Conlin and Inner City Press. They're down there in SDNY
mm,
every day, every day, and I'm like, "I don't see how they could do it because there's, like, all this waiting time in between, when Perez had his hearing, they had to do, like, the judge could o him and the judge could only talk, so they made us all wait out in the room. And it was like an hour or something, and we're just like, "Okay, like, now what do we do? We're getting hungry, it's lunchtime." So there's, like, negative aspects, and even, like, when you go see, like, the line sitters and all that, like, unless you can afford a line sitter, but standing in line, I'm sure Carol probably, has told you, that, when she went to the hearing, it was a lot of standing in line. They were there for, like, a whole hour. I was live streaming it, and I'm like, they
mm.
were literally just standing in line for a whole hour, so there's hard parts of it, I don't necessarily know that a case would pique my interest that much. New York was like I told the followers it's a game time decision because I honestly thought it was gonna settle. So I was like, I don't wanna buy tickets and plan and do all this stuff and then or it changes and then we don't have a court date. But now I don't know. I don't know. It's piquing my interest again just because she doubled down and I'm like, I just wanna go and support JB, but I don't know about, like, the whole waking up at 4 AM to get in line and, just trying to be like, I don't know how crowded it's gonna be, if there's gonna be a
Mm,
ton of people, but definitely have a newfound respect for court reporters like, Lauren Collin and ICP, like, it's hard work, it's not easy, it's draining.
yeah. Um,
"Are you gonna go?" I'm like,
I I
"You gonna go
want
boots on the ground?"
I want to, it all I have some really big deadlines for my job coming up. Uh, so don't know. It all depends on whether or not I can work from, like, if I can work in New York, if they allow me to, like, take some vacation, but the days that they're not having trial to then work. So I don't know. It comes down to that.
Do
So
you
we'll
know
see.
of anybody who's, like, for sure going yet?
I think that people don't know because they don't know what's gonna happen. I think there's people that definitely are planning on it, but for sure, like people got tickets or anything. No, um, because we
It's
don't
a
know.
fluid situation, and that's why I'm like, it's gonna be a game time decision. It might be like Perez, I literally bought the ticket the night before to
Hmm.
fly out the next day, and I think the hearing was, that afternoon, or maybe it was in the morning, maybe I did buy it then, but it was literally, like, 1 or 2 days, nobody even knew, like, I remember my mod was like, "What? You're in Vegas covering the case?" I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, no, I mean, so I think it's a game day decision for everybody, just because this case has been so difficult.
It
To
was fun though to, like, reporting live from in front of the courthouse. It was fun, that part was fun. I would like to experience that part again, but it comes with all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Okay, but the final question I have is something I always ask folks. What platforms can people follow or support you on?
Well, right now I'm mostly on YouTube. I have a live show every morning. It's called Objection Live, and we go 9 a.m. Eastern time. Every day. I had changed it to just Mondays, but I'm back to a daily schedule, which is hard to keep up with. It's like a whole production and everything. So,
You do work hard on
hopefully,
that.
yeah, yeah. I try to put on a good show, you know.
You do a great job.
Um, oh, thank you. And I'm gonna try like to this week. It was rough there for a little bit, but I got to the end of the week. Thankfully, we got that order, so Friday was a little bit more easy for me. Because it was just, like putting out which creators you could go watch and like all that stuff. It wasn't as much of like research and reading dockets. Because when we did the FKA Twigs one, I didn't talk to anybody for like 5 hours after that episode. There was some
Mm,
horrific stuff that she claimed.
mm,
Like I was like, what just happened? Like it was to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna I started reading the docket or the filing, and I think we were, like, 2 pages in, and I was like, "I should have had a warning before this." I was like, "Oops." And then I was like, "I don't think I can even read it." Like, y'all I was like, "The link is in the bottom because I always link all the documents in my description. I was like, "Y'all can go read it. I'm not gonna read it." But anyways, I'm gonna try and keep up with that. It's, Monday through Fridays, 9 a.m. on YouTube. Me and DFJ are still planning to do a true crime update, on Nancy Guthrie and the David case. So that'll probably be like on a Sunday night. And then just I'm on X. So it's C Journalist 24 on all platforms. I'm also on TikTok if you guys are interested in like fun, like fan edits, like who makes edits from a court what is it, a court case? Me, that's who. I have some Brian Friedman edits. I have some Justin Baldoni, like feel good edits. So if you guys want to go check out my editing over there on TikTok. And I wanted to transition over to TikTok right before I took that break. Remember, I was over there with you guys, but what
yeah,
I did was I brought all of you guys over to YouTube.
this is true.
So, Yarn and Order,
Yeah,
Carol, you.
yeah,
I was like, I brought all my friends from
this is
TikTok
true.
over to YouTube. Because I'd always be on YouTube and I'd be like talking about you guys. And what I would do was while I was putting the morning show together, I would go on you guys' lives and, like, what are you guys talking about? If you guys were sharing content about other creators or if Elsie was about to do something, like create some content or whatever, I would, type it up like to link it on the show, whatever. So you guys inspired a lot of like the thoughts that went into the morning shows and stuff. And it was fun times over there. I
Oh.
loved late nights with all of you
I
guys.
do miss that, and my TikTok community feels like I abandoned them, and they're kinda right. I in live wise, at least. I mean, my I'm still putting TikToks on there, but, like, my lives are no longer happening there, and I told them I was never gonna stop, but it wasn't a lie. I meant it at that time, but it does there is a lot of work to do on YouTube, and at least YouTube compensates me, and so, um,
Mhm. Yeah,
so I feel
it's
bad.
smarter. It's smarter to do that, and so that's why I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back on TikTok because I was kind of inspired now by Blake and stuff, like, I'm like, "Well, you know what? I haven't really been showing my face and stuff, my show, I don't really show my face because we're doing documents and stuff like that." But I was like I had all these ideas and topics that I wanna talk about since that statement because it's so much deeper than like, I always when I read that statement, I was like, "Now I wanna go research digital violence." I'm reading white papers on digital violence. I'm, doing all this stuff, and sometimes, like, having to put together, like, a whole show on this stuff where I have to have, like, images. That's what I loved about your content because it was literally you just being like, "Hey, what's up, you guys?" Da, da, da," like and most of the TikTokers do that. It was so funny because I used to watch your videos, and one time I tried to answer you thinking we were on FaceTime. I'm like, "Oops, this is TikTok, and I don't know her." Um but yeah, I love like the easiness of like getting your thoughts out, like this is what I read. This is, I've been reading a lot about like whisper campaigns and like
Mm,
what like one of the things that Blake was doing was kind of like smearing him behind the scenes privately. So
mhm.
it's something that's also untraceable because
Yes.
unless you
Oh,
can get
yes.
access to text messages. So I do like all this research and stuff. And sometimes I just want to be like, hey, what's up, you guys? So I might go over there on TikTok and start showing my face over there. I haven't decided yet. Um, as I progress in, somebody made a comment about communication, how I've gotten better with my communication. So as I progress, I'm kind of just like, making decisions like that. But um, I don't miss TikTok as much because all you girls are over here. So I just watch you guys over here.
Yeah. Well, what I do miss about TikTok too is that people could just come on the live and I don't know how to do that on YouTube because I use YouTube's inner things. You can do it on a phone, but I want to use my laptop so I could. It's easier for me to share documents and things of that nature. So either I would have to go on Streamyard, which I'm not on Streamyard. I'm on Riverside, so I would have to use Riverside. But I want to be able to control that it's only subscribers that chat with me, and so I don't have that capability when I'm just on a third party. At least I haven't learned how to do that. So, that's the only reason I really, really and obviously the people. I really do miss my TikTok people.
Mhm.
Some people some
Ella was, on both of our lives. You remember
yeah.
Ella?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And she had like lots of good insights. I love her.
Yeah, I mean, I do miss my TikTok folks and some did come over to YouTube um to go join the lives and things of that nature, but yeah, it's also really hard to do more than one I'm not made for doing more than one platform at a time. It's a difficult, uh, thing for me. But
Yeah, it was funny because, like, I did X and I got, like, super far on X, and then I was like it wasn't like I was bored with it, but then I was like, "Oh, let me challenge myself and try YouTube." And then it was, like, at a point where I was like, "Oh, like, I don't really know if I wanna do YouTube anymore." Like, I was spending way more time on TikTok and barely making any content. That's when I just started doing the shows on Monday. And, but then once I brought all you girls over, I was like, "Well, there's no reason to be on TikTok, like, I'll just watch in here." And that's when I started to, like, amp up my YouTube content again.
no, I mean, I love, like, when I get an opportunity to watch your show, when I was like, "Oh, yeah, CJ's live." I mean, I
It's
enjoy
so
it so much.
early in the morning, like, I appreciate when you come on because for you, it's 6 a.m., no?
This is true, but, I mean, I also I'm trying to learn how to sleep 4 to f I mean, more than 4 to 5 hours a night, so
I know
but
I was watching your videos on your journey, you're like, "I need more sleep, I need to eat healthier," and I'm, like, watching you, and I'm like, "Oh, like, I think she's talking to me." I'm over here like, "Have you eaten?" Because that day that, the order dropped, I went straight from, my show into just consuming, like, literally just every YouTube video. I watched yours on 3 times speed. DFJ had a good live read. I was just watching everything on 3 times speed because I have the premium. And, yeah, I didn't even eat, like, dinner. Like, I had ate lunch, and then I just didn't eat at all until the next morning. And I was
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
"Dang, I forgot to eat." Like
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of content to consume. I will say one of my favorite things about your stuff is that I can tell how much time you put into it, how much research, how much intention. And I really like I respect that cuz I am like what you said. I'm like a I turn on the camera and I'm like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking."
yeah.
You know? And it's not that I don't do research. I obviously do cuz I want to be factual. But um
But you're
but
sleuthing
amount
at the same time that you're talking, so you're just
That's
not
true, I
showing
do.
the images, but I've seen you, like, being like, "Hold up, da da da," and you know all the docket numbers too. That's what I used to love about watching y'all's lives because you'd be like, oh, that's in docket, uh, 1245-1 and let's get to that one or whatever. So no, you do your sleuthing like on the side, but then you just like tell it to us. And it's more like live reading of because you would do the documents of just yourself reading without showing the document. So
Mhm.
it's still work. I mean, you lost your voice that the dang 152 pages. That was work. I was like,
Yeah,
she's
that was
still
work.
I was trying to put the morning show together and I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. Like trying to stay awake. And I'm like, no, girl, you need some sleep. Like you have to be up at 8 for the show. So I think we passed out about around the same time. And I remember telling you that I kept rewinding the video thinking that I was like, wait, it still had 7 more pages. Like, what did I miss? Why is it buffering? And it was just that you said bye so fast that I didn't hear it and I missed it. And I was like, so I kept replaying and kept rewinding. And I'm like, it says page 140 something. She still had a couple pages. And then I finally realized, like, oh, she ended it. It was
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's a different style of work. But yeah, it is. It's a lot of work when you have to put images up
yeah.
and get them all together. I've always had like the wheel of death. I've learned now no more than 14 tabs. Otherwise, I get stuck and then the chat has to wait until the wheel of death. So I've had to learn how to narrow it down and not have such robust shows.
Yeah. No, but I do appreciate, yeah, the work that you do. Um, with that said, thank you again, CJ,
Oh,
for
no,
for
thank
joining.
you. Thank you for having me on. I love this. It was really fun.
Yay, thanks. Okay, so next episode is going to be with Mandy Magnan. So keep an eye open for that once that drops. And if you enjoyed this interview with CJ, feel free to like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to me, subscribe to me. And I'm also going to put in the description links to how you can follow CJ on the different platforms she's at. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, folks.
Thank you
Bye.
guys.